Good morning, Adrian. Do you hear me? Adnan, do you hear me, Adnan?
Sorry?
You
Can you hear me?
start the class.
Okay, no problem. Okay, welcome students to biology class. In this class, we will discuss two main topics, chapters we can say. The first one is birds and mammals, and the second chapter will be the human body. So these two chapters we will discuss. So we are starting from birds, reptiles, and mammals. So birds, reptiles, and mammals, we call them collectively as animals. They are the species of animal kingdom. We have different type of species in animal kingdom. We have amphibians, we have birds, we have reptiles, we have mammals, and we have other different types of animals as well. But here in this class, we will discuss, and our main focus will be on birds, reptiles, and mammals. So let's start from birds. In the introduction, birds are a group of warm-blooded vertebrates consisting or constituting the class Aves. So whenever you see this word Aves, it means that we are talking about birds. We are discussing birds. So I hope this point is clear. So what is basically warm-blooded animals or warm-blooded vertebrates? As we can say that the animals, they are divided into two different classifications. We have vertebrates, and those animals that have backbone, and we have invertebrates that lack backbone or that do not have any backbone, right? So warm-blooded animals are those animals that can regulate and maintain constant internal body temperature. For example, human beings. So human beings, and they have a constant body temperature, and that is around, can anyone tell me, Adrian, do you know what's the what's the normal body temperature? Adrian, can you hear me? Okay, I think you are away, so I will repeat this question later. So warm-blooded animals are defined as animals that can regulate and maintain constant internal body temperature. In total, there are about 10,000 species of birds described worldwide. So we have a classification system. We can name, okay. So we have a classification system of birds, and we have classified around 10,000 species of birds that have been described worldwide, right? So now we are going into the details. Birds are characterized by feathers. These are animals, they are vertebrate. They have feathers, and they are toothless, beaked jaws. They have toothless, beaked jaws. The laying of hard-shelled eggs. So a characteristic of a bird is that birds mostly they lay eggs that we usually eat in our breakfast. And high metabolic rate, they have a high metabolic rate. What do we mean by metabolism? By metabolism, we mean that whenever we eat something, it is digested, it is dissolved, and it is converted into different products that our body needs. So that happens very quickly in birds. So that is why we say that they have a high metabolic rate. Four-chambered heart. So there are animals that have more than four chambers of the heart, but human beings and birds and other animals that are comparatively related to us. So they have four different compartments. They have four different chambers of the heart, right? So a strong yet lightweight skeleton. So birds, they have a strong and lightweight skeleton. What do we mean by a lightweight skeleton? It means that their bones are hollow, and that is why they can fly, which helps them in flying. So here is a picture of the bone of the birds. You can see here we have a comparison. The bone of the bird is compared with the bone of human being. So this is the bone of the human being, and you can see here that this bone is filled, and this is not hollow, right? What is inside a human bone? We have a bone marrow, right? But in the case of birds, these bones, they are hollow. You can see here large air pockets, and here in the human bone, we have bone and bone marrow. So these air pockets, they reduce the mass of the bones, which helps the bird to fly. And here on the right hand side, you can see we have different types of wings. So here we have a primary flight feathers. So these are the main feathers which are used by birds to fly. And then we have secondary feathers. We have another layer of the feathers that is smaller as compared to the primary ones, and that is on the inside of the primary feathers. So then we have primary coverts, then we have alula, we have marginal wings or marginal wing coverts, and we have scapulars. So and these are basically the different types of feathers most birds contain. So you need to remember that we need to understand that primary feathers or primary flight feathers, they are used for flying. Another very important aspect of birds is migration. So what is migration? As you guys may have heard that sometimes for resources, for food, for shelter, we migrate, right? Human beings migrate. Most of the people, whenever we leave one country and we go to another country, so the human beings, they are called immigrants, right? So we go for a better future, we go for a better education, we go for a better health system. We migrate for better opportunities, better job opportunities. In the same way, birds, they also migrate from one place to another, and that is called migration for food and shelter, or for a better weather, because the temperature is very important for birds. So migration is the seasonal movement of birds from one place to another. Whenever birds, they move from one country to another country or one city to another city, that is called migration. Birds migrate to find suitable breeding grounds, better feeding opportunities, as I just explained, or to escape unfavorable weather conditions. For example, the climate is changing, and sometimes birds, they may feel very hot at one place, and they may decide to leave that area, and they may go to another area which is suitable for, which has a suitable temperature for them. So migration plays a crucial role in the bird populations, ecosystem dynamics, and global biodiversity. So it is very important for birds to move from one place to another. It is essential for the survival of birds. So these birds, when they move from one place to another, they mate, they interact with different types of birds, right? So it is healthier for their DNA. It is important for their survival. So another thing, another discussion on migration there is that some birds undertake remarkable journeys spanning thousands of kilometers. Arctic terns are birds that migrate from Arctic to the Antarctic and back, covering over 70,000 kilometers annually. That's a lot of distance, that is from pole to pole, right? So Arctic terns migrate from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back. Some birds only travel short distances to find suitable habitats for or food sources. It is not always 70,000 kilometers. Sometimes birds, they may migrate from one town to another. And sometimes they may change continents. So American robin is a bird that migrate from northern regions to the southern areas in search of food during winter. So when in winter, the northern areas get covered with ice. So they usually have a problem in finding food. So they decide to migrate to the southern parts where the weather is pleasant and there is lots of food for them. So this is the basic reason for the migration of birds. Adrian, I hope you are getting me. Are you getting me now? Okay, so this is the map. As we can see that here we have different types of lines that are showing the migration of birds. Here, this is America, this is North America, this is South America, and this is Africa, this is Asia, this is Australia. So here you can look at the red line. So this bird you can see here is crossing continents, right? From North America to South America, and from Arctic to Atlantic and all that. So here, look at this pink line. As you can see here, these birds, they are circling the part of Africa and Asia and all the way to up to Russia and China. So these birds, they are covering huge distances. So this was about birds. So now we are entering towards the reptiles. So in the introduction of reptiles, we have reptiles are a class of vertebrates that made up most of snakes, turtles, lizards, and crocodilians. So like crocodiles and alligators. So these animals are most easily recognized by their dry skin, by their scaly skin, and slimy skin as well, because the skin of a snake is usually slimy. So almost all reptiles are cold-blooded and most lay eggs, though some, like the boa constrictors, give birth to live young ones. So what are cold-blooded animals? Cold-blooded animals are those animals that cannot maintain their temperature of their body, like their bodies do not generate heat. So whenever it gets really cold, they get inside the earth to stay warm, and when it gets really hot, and they usually get like outside of their holes or all that to to have some cold weather. So reptiles, that cannot generate internal heat, are known as cold-blooded animals. Insects, worms, fish, amphibians, and reptiles, all of these different classification of animals, they fall into this category. all creatures except mammals and birds. So mammals and birds are warm-blooded, as I just explained, and database includes about 11,700 species of reptiles. There are different, there are 11,000 types of reptiles that have been classified so far. So here, reptiles, we will talk about the reptile diversity. So turtles and tortoise. Turtles have a protective shell and are adapted for aquatic or terrestrial life. You can see we have a turtle here, and it has a huge shell on its back, which protects this animal from weather, from heavy things, right? This turtle can even survive a truck or a car. So the turtle, it will secure its head inside this shell, and it will shrink, and it will completely take shelter inside of this shell. And this is a very hard structure. So this is a type of reptile that we have. So the Galapagos giant tortoise is known for its longevity and large size. Turtles can live very long, even they can live more than 100, 200 years. So most of the times you can read about them in the news. So we have another type of turtles. We have snakes and lizards. Snakes have elongated bodies and no limbs. So you must have seen a snake, right, in the book, in your book, or maybe on a YouTube or a TV, or maybe in a class, or maybe on your trip to the zoo. So snakes, they do not have legs and hands. They just have elongated bodies, while lizards have limbs, and they move in various habitats. The king cobra is the world's longest venomous snake. This is a picture of a king cobra. It is a very poisonous snake, and it is usually mostly found in the region of Pakistan and India. And it is usually from we can say that 3 to 4 meters. Its length can vary. So now we have crocodiles. Crocodiles include, we have alligators, we have caimans with a semi-aquatic lifestyle. So alligators, they can live inside the water, and sometimes they can live on a dry land as well. So they have two different mediums where they can survive. So the Nile crocodile is one of the largest living reptiles, known for its powerful jaws. So what do we mean by Nile? It's a river. It's in Egypt, and it passes different countries. But the major part of this river is in Egypt, and it is the longest river in the world. So we have crocodiles in this river, and these crocodiles are the largest and the most powerful. So another type of reptile is tuataras. So these are lizard-like reptiles found only in New Zealand. So New Zealand is an island. It is adjacent to Australia. If you look at the map, so New Zealand and Australia contains some very special animals that are not found anywhere on Earth. So this lizard has a third eye, as we can see here, on this structure on its forehead, which helps regulate circadian rhythms, which is basically a temperature sensor, but sometimes people may mistake it with an eye. So reptiles, ecological roles. What do we mean by ecological roles? Ecological roles are such roles where an animal or some species will impact the environment. So what role reptiles play for our environment? We have predators. So reptiles, they are very important predators. They maintain a balance in our ecosystem, in our environment. Many reptiles play a crucial role as top predators, helping control populations of prey species. For example, if we didn't have snakes, so this planet might have been filled with rodents and mice. So whenever there are mice in a bush or in a pond, you will see snakes there, because snakes, they eat those mice, they eat those rodents, and that's why they help in keeping their numbers low, where they cannot where they cannot disturb the different environmental factors. Seed dispersers. So reptiles also play a very important role in dispersing different types of seeds. Whenever they crawl on the surface of the earth, the seeds or the pollen grains, they get attached to their bodies. And whenever they go near water, somewhere near water, that seed is germinated or planted in the soil, and where it absorbs moisture, and then it grows into a tree. So, and that's a very important role that these reptiles play. So some reptiles, such as certain species of turtles, aid in seed dispersal by consuming fruits and excreting these seeds elsewhere. So this is another type of seed dispersal, where a turtle will eat a fruit, and it will not be able to digest the seeds, and the seeds will be excreted somewhere else, and they will be planted in the soil, and they will get moisture, maybe due to a rainfall, or maybe near the beach, and that seed will eventually germinate into a tree. So the example is the gopher tortoise is an important seed disperser in southeastern US, United States ecosystems. So this was about reptiles. Now we are moving towards mammals. So as we can see here, that mammal is a vertebrate animal of the class Mammalia. A Mammalia is a classification system where we classify different types of mammals. So mammals are characterized by the presence of milk-producing mammary glands for feeding their young, a neocortex region of the brain, fur or hair, and 3 middle ear bones. So if someone asks you that what is the main difference between mammals and reptiles, what would you say? You should say that mammals are characterized by the presence of milk-producing mammary glands. So the females of mammals, they will always produce milk for their young ones, right? So this is a very important point that you need to remember, that will help you differentiate mammals from other types of animals. And what is that? That the females of mammals, they have mammary glands, and they produce milk, and they feed their young children, or the young ones. So a neocortex region of the brain, which is not found in other animals, it is a very important part of the brain, which gives different mammals intelligence and a higher, we can say, a higher understanding of their surrounding. And they have fur, they have hair, they have 3 middle ear bones. They have a special bone in their ear, which helps them hear better, and sometimes they can hear up to hundreds of kilometers. So mammals give different, and we are now discussing other characteristics of mammals, a live birth. So just like for the reptiles, we discussed that reptiles, they lay eggs, they have a hard-shelled eggs, but for mammals, they give live birth. Mammals give birth to live young rather than laying eggs, right? So mammals, they will just give birth to their offspring. So mammary glands, and they have female mammals produce milk to nourish their offspring. Hair or fur, most mammals have hair or fur that helps them regulate body temperature. So always remember, hair are different than feathers, right? You should not confuse the feathers of birds with the hair of mammals. Hair is different, and feathers, they are different. Warm-blooded mammals are warm-blooded. We have already discussed this point, that they can generate their heat. Their body temperature is constant. They can survive in a different temperature range, right? Like human beings, they can survive in Africa. Human beings are mammals, and human beings, they can survive in Canada. They can survive in Chicago. They can survive in New York in winters. So they have a wide range of temperature. So this is a very interesting quality that that mammals have. And then we have a diaphragm. Diaphragm is a special organ which helps in breathing, and it is usually found below the lungs, and it divides our abdominal cavity and lungs. And it is a thin, we can say a thin layer, a very thin membrane that helps us breathe. And yeah, it's the main function of diaphragm is to help the mammal breathe. So mammalian diversity. Now mammals are further classified into different classes or different families. So orders of mammals. Mammals are classified into different orders based on their characteristics and evolutionary relationships. What are the examples? We have rodentia, we have rodents, we have carnivora, we have carnivores, lion, tiger, all these animals. We have jackals. All these sort of animals, they belong to this phylum or this order, carnivora. What is a carnivora? A carnivorous animal is an animal and that feeds on the meat of different organisms. Then we have whales and dolphins. Then we have primates. We have humans, monkeys, and apes, and we have bats. So this point is very interesting. Bats, they can fly, and you may think that bats belong to the families of birds, but that is not true. Bats, they belong to the order of mammals, because bats, they also have mammary glands, and they produce milk. And the female bats, they produce milk, and it is the only mammal that can fly. So it is an exception. In your exam, someone may ask you that whether a bat is a bird or a mammal. So don't forget that bat is a mammal. So mammalian adaptations. What are different adaptations that mammals have adapted over millions of years on this planet? So adaptations for different habitats. Aquatic mammals, there are mammals that live in the sea, in the ocean, or in the river. So they have streamlined bodies, they are smooth, they have flippers that can help them in swimming, right? And a blubber for insulation, like dolphins and seas. So dolphin is a mammal, seal is a mammal, and these are mammals that live underwater. They spend most of their lives in those deep waters. We have arboreal mammals, grasping limbs, and prehensile tails for tree-dwelling monkeys and squirrels. They have huge, they have long, they have thick tails that helps them in maintaining their balance. For example, monkeys, when they jump from one tree to another, the tail is very important in maintaining the balance. If you observe an injured monkey where the tail is has been removed for some reason, so that monkey will not be very active on trees. That monkey will not be able to jump freely from one tree to another, because he doesn't have that tail anymore, which was helping him in maintaining that balance, right? So these are some of the adaptations that mammals have. So now we have the importance of mammals, just like we discussed the importance of reptiles. So here we will discuss the importance of mammals, that why do we have mammals on Earth, or why animals or mammals, they what role do they play? So we have ecological roles and in ecological roles we talk about the environmental aspects of these mammals. So mammals play crucial roles in ecosystems as predators, herbivores, seed dispersers, and pollinators, right? So they eat grass, they consume different plants, and they are a source of food for other carnivore animals, and they help in seed dispersion, and they help in pollination as well. And they have an economic value. Some mammals are important for agriculture, like cows and sheep. People plow soil with the help of cows and sheep, right? In India, in Pakistan, in Mexico, you may have seen farmers working in the fields, and they will have these giant structures. They will have a bull or they will have a cow in front, and they will be working in the land. They will be preparing the land for so that they can throw in the seeds, and they can have their crops, and provides resources for fur, leather, meat, right? So different types of bags and accessories are made with the help of leather, and we take this leather from mammals. And conservation, many mammals are endangered or threatened due to habitat loss, poaching, and climate change. Conservation efforts are essential to protect mammals as mammal species and maintain biodiversity. So because of the overconsumption or overexploitation of mammals, some mammal species are going extinct. They are endangered, and their populations have been declined. They are very few in number, and they need human intervention to protect their species. Otherwise, they will become extinct, just like dinosaurs or mammoths and other animals or other species that have been had been extinct in the past. So this was about the birds. We discussed reptiles, and then we discussed mammals. So now we are moving towards our second chapter, and that is the human body. So the human body can be explained with respect to different structures, or with respect to different perspectives. But here we will talk about the physiological and an anatomical part of the human body. We will discuss how human body functions and how it carries day-to-day tasks. What are the systems in our bodies that helps us carry out those daily basis tasks? Can you name any human body system, Valentina or Adrian? Any human body system?
Maybe the lungs.
Yes, lungs.
The breathing
Sorry.
system.
Yes, could you please repeat after lungs? What did you say?
Breathing system.
Breathing system. Yes, that's correct. Good job. So lungs, basically, lungs is an organ of the breathing system, along with some other organs that we will discuss in a minute. That was a good answer. So the human body, overview of body systems. The human body is made up of multiple interconnected systems that work together to maintain our health and enable us to function. So functions and interconnections, these systems collaborate to perform vital functions such as providing structure and support, facilitating movement, processing information, transporting substances, and maintaining balance. So these are some of the functions or the body systems that are necessary for carrying out our day-to-day tasks and whatever we want to do. So the first system that we are going to discuss related to a human body is the skeletal system. And like whatever we do, like whenever, if we are trying to get up, when we walk, when we move our hands, well, like this system is enabling me to speak. My jaw is moving, like, right? I'm moving my head, I'm moving my hands, I'm using this computer, you know. So all these requirements are being fulfilled by this skeletal system. So what are the structure and functions of the skeletal system? So the skeletal system consists of bones, cartilage, and ligaments. It provides support, protects organs, facilitates movement, and produces blood cells. So if you ask someone that what are the functions of a skeletal system, some people will say that skeletal system helps us move. But a very few people, they will tell you that our skeletal system produces blood cells. So this is very important point. So I'm highlighting it, I'm underlining it. So you need to remember this, that skeletal system is very important for producing blood cells. You guys may have heard that, God forbid, when someone gets a blood cancer, so how do we treat that person? Any idea, Adrian? I hope you are listening, or I hope you can hear me. There's nothing wrong with something. Your speakers are fine.
With chemotherapy, I think.
Chemotherapy, yes, excellent, Valentina. It is a type of the method or the treatment that is used, but for blood cancer specifically, we or doctors recommend a bone marrow transplant. So this is the perfect treatment for blood cancer. So this is why our skeletal system is related to the production of blood cells. So types of bones. Okay, so does anyone know how many like different, what's the total number of bones in our body? Adrian, Valentina, do you know the total number of bones in our body?
No totals, but no.
Okay, it's 306. So there are 306 bones in the human body, right? So you can write it down. So we have different types of bones. We have long bones, femur, and what is femur? I will show you in a bit. We have a picture on the other slide. So, and we have short bones, we have carpals, flat bones, we have skull, and irregular bones, we have vertebrae. So if you run your hand on the back of your neck or in the middle of your back, you will feel a bone, right? So it has different small structures. So these are called vertebrae, and these vertebrae, they are basically they are an example of irregular bones. So importance of calcium for bone health. Calcium is very important for our bones. That's why a doctor would recommend drinking milk and consuming eggs, because they are like they contain huge quantities of calcium, which is important from the strength and density of bones. If any person that does not have a calcium or right amount of calcium in his body or her body, his bones can break easily. Like, right? For example, if a child jumps from bed, so even this jump can lead to a fracture. But if someone has a proper level of calcium in the body, that means that his bones and his teeth are strong. So common skeletal disorders, we have osteoporosis. Sometimes we get problems in our skeletal systems. You will say that you may have noticed your grandmother or your grandfather that he may have a difficulty in walking, or he may say that my knees hurt. or they may say that my ankle is hurting, my back hurts, right? So these are the different types of problems that human beings they encounter with age or with poor diet or some in case of some injury. Osteoporosis is bone weakening, and we have scoliosis, we have spinal curvature. Sometimes the backbone is curved, right? The normal backbone is straight and it's flexible, but sometimes there is a huge curve in the backbone, are example of skeletal disorders that can impact overall health and mobility. If we did not have a skeletal system in our body, we would have been just we can see a mass of meat lying somewhere on the ground, like you know, like we just an inch higher than the ground. So the skeletal system helps us like lift our bodies, lift our muscles from the ground, and they give our body shape. So now you can see here we have a labeled diagram of the skeletal system. You can see we have a frontal bone, and this is a frontal bone on the forehead, and this is flat. So this is a type of a bone, right? And then we have sternum, we have rib cage, we have maxilla. A maxilla is basically a bone. This bone is called maxilla. And then we have forearm, we have hip bone, we have pelvis, and this is femur. This starts from your pelvis and goes all the way to your knee. You can, I hope you can see here. So this is the longest bone in our body, in the human body, right? This is the longest bone. It starts from your pelvis and it ends with your knee. And this is a ball and socket joint. This is a knee joint. This is another type of ball and socket joint. So these are, then we have small bones. Here we have phalanges. So the bones in our feet, they are called phalanges, phalanges of toes and phalanges of hands, right? So these bones are small. You see, this bone has a small piece. Our fingers, they are divided into 3 small pieces. So these are the examples of small bones. So this was about the skeletal system. Now we are moving towards muscular system. Okay, muscles. They help us carry the load. With the help of muscles, we lift things. They give us a power to pick up things, to run, right? And to do different types of jobs. So what is the structure and functions of muscles? Muscles are responsible for movement, posture, and generating body heat. They consist of skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscles. Skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscles are 3 main types of muscles. So, like you must have been outside in a cold weather, and you must have you may have experienced shivering, right? Whenever we get cold, our body, our muscles, they start to vibrate. So by vibrating, they adjust the heat by generating heat. So we have different types of muscles. We have skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are attached to bones. Smooth muscles are found in organs, our intestines, our kidney. So our kidney is basically made up of smooth muscles. Cardiac muscles, our heart is made up of cardiac muscles, are specific to the heart. Muscle contraction and movement. Muscles contract when stimulated by nerve impulses, allowing movement of body parts. So most of the muscles, they work like in a collaboration, right? For example, if I move my arm like this, so what will happen? My bicep will contract, and my tricep will be released, right? It is, you can see that it is relaxed. And whenever I stretch my hand, my bicep is now relaxed, and my tricep is relaxed or is stretched. So this is how we have muscles in pairs. They work as a pair. So effects of exercise on muscles strength and endurance. Regular exercise helps strengthen muscles and improves endurance. So it is very important that you guys should work on your muscles and avoid using fat, and you should have more protein in your diet. Okay, so if you look here, we have different types of muscles in our body, lots and lots of muscles. We have biceps, we have triceps, right? We have pectoralis major, we have serratus inferior, we have external oblique on the abdomen, we have gluteus medius, right? We have gluteus maximus, this is the hip muscle, and bicep femoris, we have biceps on the legs as well, right? We have abs. So these are different types of muscles that helps us move and helps us generate heat. So now we are moving towards another system, and that is okay, Adrian, I just read your message. That is fine. I hope you are able to read and try to pick up anything that you can get, or if you're not comfortable in speaking, you can type. If you don't understand anything, I will answer you. Okay, so nervous system, we have a structure and functions of the nervous system. The nervous system includes the brain, a spinal cord, and nerves. It coordinates and controls communication. So nervous system is very important. It controls the entire body, and nervous system, the most important organ of the human body is brain. If like all the organs of the human body are working, and if brain is not working, that like sometimes the doctors, they declare the person dead. They declare that that person cannot survive without the function of a brain, right? So that is why brain, human brain, is the most evolved and most complex organ in the entire species on the planet Earth. The spinal cord, we have a vertebral column that starts from the back of our head and goes all the way down till our pelvis, our hip bone. So this vertebral column contains a spinal cord, which is the extension of our brain. And then we have nerves, different types of many nerves are released, or we can say they extend from the spinal cord. So it coordinates and controls bodily functions, processes sensory information, enables communication. Whenever someone touches us, we can feel the touch, right? We can see that someone is touching us. So how do we feel that? That is because of the nerves. They carry electric impulses from one point to another. So we have two types of systems. We have a central nervous system that includes brain and the spinal cord, and we have a peripheral nervous system. Nerves throughout the body transmit signals between the central nervous system and other parts of the body. Neurons and their roles in transmitting signals. Neurons are specialized cells that transmit electrical and chemical signals, allowing communication within the nervous system. So this is the nervous system. We have a brain in the skull, we have a cerebellum, we have a spinal cord. This is the spinal cord that I was talking about. You can see this is protected by a vertebral column. We have intercostal nerves, we have musculocutaneous nerve, we have radial nerve, we have median nerve, right? We have a genitofemoral nerve, we have a femoral nerve. So all these nerves that connect different types of muscles, and whenever we are touched anywhere on the body, we can feel that sensation. So, and these signals are carried by electric impulses, with the help of electric impulses, and these signals are carried by neurons. So this was our nervous system. And now we are moving towards the respiratory system. So what are the structure and what is the structure and functions of the respiratory system? The respiratory system enables the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the body and the environment. We take in oxygen, a mixture of gases from the air. That air is absorbed in the blood, and only oxygen is absorbed, and all the gases are released back when we exhale from the nose, or if we are walking, or if we are breathing heavily from our mouth. So oxygen is very important for the different types of functions of the human body. It is very important for the blood, and a human body cannot survive without oxygen. So what are the organs involved? We have nose, we have trachea, we have lungs, and we have a diaphragm. So nose, you guys are already familiar with. Trachea, this pipe that takes the air to the lungs. So this pipe is called a trachea. And lungs, you guys know about lungs. And diaphragm, this has been discussed in the slides in the beginning. So here you can see we have a picture of lungs, and we have a subunit or unit of the lungs that is called alveoli. So alveoli are specialized structures inside our lungs that where the oxygen is absorbed in the blood. So this was our respiratory system, or the breathing system. Now we have another system of the human body which is very important for the normal functionality, and that is circulatory system. What is the function of circulatory system? Circulatory, as the word indicates, circulation. And circulation, the circulatory system transports oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste products throughout the body, right? So what are the components of the circulatory system? Heart, it's a pumping machine. It's just like a pump, right? So it is beating non-stop, right? As long as we are alive, and it helps circulate all these products like oxygen, blood, nutrients, hormones, waste products. All these are transported and circulated in the body because of this organ, heart. So we have arteries, we have veins, we have capillaries, and blood. So blood circulation, the heart pumps oxygen-rich blood to the body through arteries and returns oxygen-poor blood to the lungs via veins for oxygenation. So breathing system, we have two different parts, oxygenation and deoxygenation of the blood. So importance of nutrients, oxygen and waste removal. The circulatory system delivers vital substances to cells and removes metabolic waste. So what is the main purpose or function of the circulatory system? Is that it brings oxygen to the cells, and it takes or filters the waste material. So this is the circulatory system. As you can see here, that our entire body is connected with these arteries and veins and blood capillaries. We have blood capillaries and arteries in the brain, in our feet, everywhere, right? So because we have cells everywhere in the body, and those cells, they require nutrition, and that nutrition is supplied by the circulatory system. Now we have digestive system. Digestive system contains, it starts from the buccal cavity, tongue, different like teeth, Then we have epiglottis, or the esophagus, the stomach, intestine, liver, pancreas. So what is the function of stomach? Whatever we eat, it is further grinded, right? It mixed in the stomach. It is broken down with the help of different enzymes. Enzymes are different types of proteins that break down complex food molecules into simpler molecules, because our body cannot sometimes digest or absorb complicated food molecules. So it is very important to break them into smaller and smaller or simpler substances. And then the waste material, or the waste, is excreted out in the form of feces or urine. So absorption of nutrients and elimination of waste. Nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream in the small intestine, while undigested waste is eliminated as feces. So this is the picture of the digestive system. We have a liver, we have a stomach, and we have intestines. Now we have endocrine system. Endocrine system is basically a system that releases different types of hormones that are necessary for our growth, and they are released on in different periods, right? Like when we are kids, different hormones are functioning, and when we reach puberty, different hormones they get kicked in, and so this is basically controlled by this endocrine system. So we have glands, we have parathyroid gland, we have thyroid gland, we have pituitary gland, we have adrenal glands, we have pancreas, we have ovary and testis. So all these glands, they secrete very essential hormones that are essential for carrying out different functions, for example, growth, temperature control, reproduction, etc. And finally, we have a reproductive system. In the reproductive system, you guys must be familiar with the reproductive system in your sex education class. So we have a male reproductive system and we have a male reproductive system. So these are the parts of the male and female nervous system. We have a seminal vesicle, we have prostate gland, we have testis, and we have scrotum in the male, and then we have in the female, we have uterus, we have fallopian tubes, and we have ovaries. And finally, homeostasis. We have 2 to 3 minutes left for the class, so I will wind up. So homeostasis is basically a system that controls the fluid balance of the human body and the temperature balance of the human body. For example, if you drink too much water, so this homeostasis system will send a signal that now this person needs to urinate. This person needs to excrete that extra water from the body. So these were the different types of systems in the body. And this was all for today's lecture. We covered birds, reptiles, and mammals, and then we discussed human body in detail. So if you don't have any questions, and that will be all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry, ma'am, I think your mic is unmute.
Thank you, Adnan. Excellent class.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let's enjoy the rest of the day. I see you the next class.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Thank you.
day. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.